like to call the January 24th meeting of the Mill Creek Township Board of Supervisors to order, and we'll begin with a pledge to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll call for public comment on agenda items other than those dealing with development or rezoning applications. Okay, hearing none, we have the minutes from the organization meeting on January 3rd. If there are no additions or corrections, I'll entertain a motion.
I so move to approve both sets of minutes.
Well, we'll do one at a time.
Okay. We'll do the reorganization meeting. I'll make a motion to approve that.
But I understand you are able to vote. Yes, we did get a clarification on that, yes. All right, Mr. Groh?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I'll vote yes. And also the minutes for the regular meeting on January 3rd.
Okay, I so move to approve those minutes for the regular meeting on January 3rd.
And I will second.
Mr. Groh?
Yes?
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And next we have the bills for the past, actually be 3 weeks. If there are no additions or corrections to those, I'll entertain a motion.
I so move to approve the bills for the last 2 weeks.
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I'll vote yes. Next, we have a series of promotions for the Mill Creek Police Department, and with us tonight, with the officers, is also the newly appointed Chief of Police, Scott Height, and he would like to, Scott, if you would, read through the promotions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is with great satisfaction that I have submitted these 5 individuals for your consideration for promotion retroactive to January 1st. The first being Michael Kabasinski. He will assume command of the Investigative Services Division as my replacement. Captain Kabasinski has reached 28 years of service in February. Donald Kaczynski would be a lieutenant in Captain Kabasinski's replacement in the Investigative Services Division. He just finished his 21st year with the department. Lieutenant Leslie Mitchell will remain assigned to the Special Service Division. She is just approaching 22 years of service with the department as well. Mark Irwin would be promoted to sergeant. He will remain in the Investigative Services Division, and he is just completing his 18th year with the department. And last but not least, Corporal Adam Hardner. He'll be Sergeant Irwin's replacement, excuse me, and he will remain assigned to the special investigative unit of the Investigative Services Division. That's a lot to get out there. He just finished his 11th year with the department, and with that, I would recommend approval of those promotions.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Is there a motion regarding these proposed promotions?
Yes, I so move to promote those as requested by the chief.
I second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Congratulations, officers.
Congratulations.
Yes.
And thank you, Chief. Along with that, we have with us tonight a new officer, Jonathan Kuterna. And Mr. Groh, if you'd like to...
Do you want to do it, Scott? Okay. Okay, let's get a little background about Officer Katerna. Can we do that?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. We have a memo here from the chief, permission to employ Jonathan Katerna as a probationary police officer with the Mill Creek Police Department, retroactive to January 16th. Mr. Katerna graduated from Northeast High School and Teal College. He has prior police experience with the City of Franklin Police Department and the PA Attorney General Drug Task Force. I'll be administering the oath of office here in just a second, so I'll make a motion to approve hiring Jonathan Katerna as an officer.
I'll second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan? And I vote yes.
Okay. Everybody hear me? Is that okay? Okay, let's come over this way here. You can raise your right hand. Follow after me. I, Jonathan Katerna,
I, Jonathan Katana,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will obey, support, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will obey,
Support, and defend.
and defend the Constitution of the United States,
And the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
And I will discharge the duties of police officer
and I will discharge the duties of police officer
in Mill Creek Township, Erie County, with fidelity.
in Mill Creek Township,
Erie County.
with fidelity.
Okay, congratulations. Thank you. You are now voting. Congratulations.
And Chief, that brings our complement to
63.
63 officers. Okay.
Okay. And whether we'll have a reception out here?
Yeah, yes, we have some, I guess, water and some cookies, and what we'll do is take a little break here for those who would like to have a little reception out in the lobby. You're welcome to depart now, and we'll take a little break because the rest of the meeting could take quite a while.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a public hearing on subdivision and land development plans. The first is for Jeffrey Kowalczyk. This is a small subdivision plan to show the creation of a 20-foot by 100-foot parcel, which will become an integral part of the neighboring property, Erie County Tax Parcel 33-51-199-7, located along the north line of West 23rd Street, west of Evanston Avenue, and Tract 16. Mr. Morris.
At their meeting of January 3rd, the Planning Commission recommended approval.
Okay. Is there someone here who would like to speak on behalf of this subdivision plan? If we could just have your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jeffrey Kowalczyk. My address is 134 Olin Avenue in Girard. The property address is 2612 West 23rd Street.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I'll just make an assumption, and I know it's dangerous to do that. You're going to add on to the house. Is that why you're acquiring that land? or-
I'm selling the land.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it mixed up then. Okay.
selling the
Do you happen to know, was there a plan? Doesn't really affect it one way or the other, you know?
It's my friend is buying it from me.
Okay.
And he just wanted to increase his lot size, and
Right.
the house is so small, I didn't need the big lot, so
Okay. Okay.
it's just beneficial for both of us.
All right.
Works out good then.
Mr. Morris, were there any questions at the planning commission meeting on this one?
No. Okay.
Okay. Anyone to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this subdivision plan? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve that subdivision plan as presented.
I will second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have David R. and Donna M. Dubois, small subdivision plan to show the creation of two irregularly shaped parcels, a .625 acre parcel to become an integral part of Erie County Tax Parcel 33-192-628-1.28, and a .567 acre parcel to become an integral part of Erie County Tax Parcel 33-192-628-1.29, located west of Old Perry Highway and east of Cobblestone Drive and tracks 342 and 343. Mr. Morris.
Planning Commission recommended approval.
Again, no conditions or questions.
That's correct.
Okay. Someone to speak on behalf of this subdivision plan? If we could just have your name and address for the record, please.
Michael Mancosa, 6243 Cobblestone Drive. I'm one of the two people buying the parcel from the Du Bois family.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I guess the only question, I'm sure that the planning commission looked at the lot sizes. They're irregular, but do they meet the square footage sizes and the lot width to depth ratios?
Well, yeah.
You know what's
they-
residual there on lot
They
three?
already had enough
They
area.
had, okay. It looked like it. I just want to verify that, so.
Yeah, they're irregular shaped, you're right.
Yeah, okay. Okay, no other questions for me.
And the access point for the property is actually Hunter's Creek Drive?
For the family that's selling, yes, they're from Hunters Creek, and I'm from Cobblestone.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
Anyone else to speak either on behalf of or in opposition to this subdivision? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the subdivision plan as presented.
I'll second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have referrals to the Planning Commission of a petition requesting a change in zoning classification. The first is for Dean and Anjani
Ramdani?
Ramdani
I think you.
for property located at 3229 West 38th Street, now zoned R1 Single Family Residential District, asking for a change in classification to R2 Low Density Residential District. Is there a motion to refer this to the Planning Commission?
I so move to refer that rezoning request to the planning commission.
Okay, is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I'll vote yes. And next we have Westminster Place Partnership for property located at 2608 Zimmerly Road, now zoned Rural Residential District consisting of approximately 11.4 acres, asking for a change in classification to C2 General Commercial District. Is there a motion to refer this to the Planning Commission?
Yes, I so move to refer that rezoning application to the planning commission.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I'll vote yes. Next, we have, under new or amended ordinances under review, this is proposed ordinance 2017-3. We have discussed this briefly at several previous meetings. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 36, adding Article 3 of the Mill Creek Township Code, known as the Fire and Emergency Medical Services Commission. And I'll refer this to Mr. Grove.
Okay. Well, we're at this point now where we're actually going to take some action on this to approve or deny whatever action we decide here tonight. Of course, this has been discussed for quite a few months in depth in a lot of detail. We've had input from the chiefs. We've had input from, of course, here within the building, and of course the advice from our legal counsel, Mark Shaw. And of course, I hope everybody's had a chance to read this. But what I will do is I've come up with some bullet points that we have to keep in mind what this is about. The Fire Commission, and here's just a quick factoid about what's happening. For the longest time, the public used to support the fire departments, the volunteer companies, with regular donations. It seems like maybe 50 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, everybody donated. Sadly, those numbers have fallen off, especially in the last several years, probably the last 20 to 30 years. I'm sure the firefighters can attest to what actually happened there. But the fact is, people are not donating money as they should be. The township has an obligation to provide for fire service within the township, fire and emergency services. This is under second-class township code. We also have the authority to establish regulations in how that is done. One thing that the public may or may not be aware of is we have a local services tax that we collect. Proceeds from that go to fund the fire departments. It is in their overall operating budget. It is a small amount, but still it's an amount of money to help them along. And we're at a point where the township really has to take a more active role in this here and look at more creative ways of how we can, not we, but the fire departments can serve the public. And that's what the purpose of this commission is about. There is some misunderstandings about what is going on here. First of all, I will say the township is not taking over fire operations. Firefighting operations will still be handled by the individual fire departments. The volunteer system that has brought us here to this point, we hope continues, and we want to thank those folks that have been involved in it for, I think, 75, 77 years. I'm not sure. I think West Ridge was the first fire department in Mill Creek, and has served us well, and there's no reason to change that. There is no plan to change that. There is no requirement under this ordinance to merge. But if that is something that this commission decides to do and recommends that, then that would be something that could be thought about there. We could consider that. The purpose, and I'll just read these very quickly here for you. The purpose of the commission, this is taken right out of the ordinance, first is to act as an advisory capacity to the Board of Supervisors on all matters relating to fire and emergency services in Mill Creek Township. Number 2, assist the Board of Supervisors in determining the best and most cost-effective means to ensure that fire and emergency services are provided within the township at the level determined by the board. Number 3, promote cooperation and collaboration among the fire departments and the Mill Creek Paramedic Service on all levels to accomplish joint operations, joint planning, and joint funding. Number 4, promote cooperation among the fire departments and the Mill Creek Paramedic Service. And number 5, act as a liaison between the Board of Supervisors and the fire departments and the Mill Creek Paramedic Service. I think that's just a brief overall view of it. Of course, this will be is available online now, I think. And if not, you get a copy of it. I'm sure the chiefs all have it. We will get you a final signed version of this. A couple other things about it. The commission, looking at the meeting schedule, and I'll just say this so you guys can think about it. Thursdays, the third Thursdays, are the available nights for this meeting room here. I did look into the calendar because this meeting room is used a lot. Third Thursday of the month. I have put it in pencil for February 16th. If that changes, by all means, you can let us know. One of the things that we as a Board of Supervisors must do is tomorrow, I think we've had, 7 applications, so people interested to serve. Keep in mind this commission is made up of 5 representatives from the 5 fire departments, and you folks from the fire departments choose who you want to represent you. Mill Creek Paramedic Service has the executive director or anybody he may assign in his capacity. The Township Board of Supervisors will appoint 3 residents of the township, or 3 people that are property owners in the township. Let me correct myself. And so hopefully we can have those people assembled by next week and have that so you folks can have a meeting on February 16th. If there is a delay, it's understandable, if it's pushed off into March, but that first meeting will help you get it going, and then it's yours after that to run it and stuff like that. So I think I've pretty much covered everything on that. Is there anything I missed?
Cheryl, our next meeting is February 14th, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so ideally, we would have we'll call civilian names by the 14th for consideration by the board.
I would hope so, yes.
That would be nice.
I would hope to do that there. So anyway, that's what this thing is about here, and I don't know if you're looking for a motion.
I'm going to see if there's any comments from we have a nice crowd of our volunteer firefighters here with us tonight. If anyone wanted to comment, that's fine. Just to add briefly to what John had to say, we did get some input, some very valuable input from some of the volunteers on the draft that was available on this ordinance, and I believe that most, if not all, of what was offered was incorporated into the ordinance. So I think that we've come up with a good collaboration here in order to put this ordinance together regarding the Fire Commission, and hopefully the cooperation continues as the commission is formed and begins to meet. So if I see a couple gentlemen standing, if you'd like to address the board, we'd love to hear from you.
I know most of you gentlemen so far already, but my name is James Rosenbaum. I'm Deputy Chief of the West Ridge Fire Department.
Matthew Parker, Fire Chief, Kearsarge Fire Department.
I'd like to say thank you for the time that you've spent and invested in creating this ordinance and working with us to craft something that we can all work with. Although rarely are documents perfect, and this is one of them, that's May not be perfect, but it's perfect enough, and it's good enough for us to get this commission underway so that we can chart our future forward and hopefully work very closely with the supervisors to ensure that the township continues to receive the best care they can in terms of fire protection and EMS. This is an example of agencies looking to their neighbor. In other words, the fire department's looking to their neighbors to the north or to the south, amongst the fire departments and the EMS, and asking, can we collaborate in such a way that we can be more efficient and more effective for the citizens and the people who travel through Mill Creek Township? Hopefully that can be the case, and hopefully that with the creation of the commission, we'll be able to set some very clear goals and objectives and set some priorities to those goals and objectives and some benchmarks that we can follow to keep the program moving steadily forward. And I truly believe that with the patience and with the foresight that the fire chiefs as well as the supervisors have in keeping focused on what our mission is, which is obviously to protect those people who live in Mill Creek Township, that this should be a very successful commission.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Just one quick comment. Jim, I know you were part of it, and I look out in the audience and I see there's several more faces who were part of the meetings that, I think the first few that we had were down at Westridge when the discussion about the ambulance service. How many years ago was that? 17 years ago? Okay. And there was a lot of heartburn and some raised voices along the way, but looking back from here, 17 years back, I think that it was a very successful plan, a very successful product that was put out. And I have no doubt that with the same type of cooperation between the supervisors and the firefighters, that we can do the same thing.
No, I agree. We all recognized that we had a substantial problem facing us in terms of providing emergency medical services way back when. And I clearly remember some of the raised voices and some of the heartburn that people left some meetings with. But in fact, we did create a very good model. And I think it's a model that's actually being looked at to be recreated in other areas throughout the county. So that kind of is a testament to the job we did back then.
Hopefully we can do the same thing again.
I believe we can.
Okay. Thank you, Phyllis. Anyone else? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion regarding the resolution. Resolution 2017-3.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, ordinance.
Ordinance.
Not a resolution. Ordinance.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll make that motion to approve ordinance 2017-3.
I will second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
fellows and
Thank
ladies.
you. Yes. Thank you for your service. Okay.
Tell you what, we could take another break.
There's probably still more cookies out there.
Yeah, if you hurry, you can grab some
Before the
cookies.
cops get them all. Thanks, Dan.
Okay, the room has cleared out pretty much, and next on the agenda is a public hearing on a request for liquor license transfer into Mill Creek Township, and with that, I'm going to refer to our solicitor, Mark Shaw.
Thank you, Chairman. Pennsylvania law requires municipal approval of any intermunicipal transfer of liquor licenses from one municipality to another, and that is the request that's before the supervisors this evening. The municipality that would be hosting that new license transfer must conduct a public hearing, and the purpose of that hearing is to receive comments and recommendations regarding the transfer, and then following the hearing, the municipality is required then to render a formal decision, which could occur at this meeting or at a later date, but in no event no more than 45 days after the receipt of the initial request. This hearing was properly noticed, and we still are within the required 45-day time period, so I would recommend that we proceed then with the hearing with that understanding.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. This is a resolution approving the intermunicipal transfer of restaurant liquor license number R10830 into the Township of Mill Creek from the City of Erie, PA. And is there someone here representing the request? If we could have your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Paul Namey from Flaherty and O'Hara Law Firm. Corporate address is 610 Smithfield Street, Pittsburgh, PA 15222. Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. I'm here tonight on behalf of Sheetz Inc. To formally request that Mill Creek Township approve a resolution permitting the intermunicipal transfer of a restaurant liquor license from the City of Erie that's pursuant to Section 461B3 of the Liquor Code. This license will be used at Sheetz store number 557 that's located at 750 Peninsula Drive. Now generally, Section 461B3 permits the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board to approve the transfer of a license from any municipality within a county to a different municipality within that same county, so long as the receiving municipality issues a resolution approving that transfer. But even beyond the typical transfer provisions and regulations, we're here tonight because of recent historic changes to the Liquor Code, changes that modernize the distribution and purchase of alcohol in Pennsylvania, and finally gets the state more in line with the rest of the country in regards to sales channels for beer and for wine. Notably for our purposes here, these changes, which are known as Act 39 of 2016, codified the PLCB's interpretation of various sections of the Liquor Code, which allow stores such as Sheetz that sell liquid fuels to obtain a liquor license so long as the sale of liquid fuels do not occur from the area of the store that's licensed as a restaurant. Another change was that Act 39 also permits restaurant liquor licensees, which Sheetz is proposing to be, to obtain a permit to sell up to 4 bottles of wine to go for customers for takeout. And so when the General Assembly enacted these provisions, they made very clear in the preamble of Act 39 their intent. They set 4 elements were the reasons behind making these changes. And these 4 elements are to permit private industry to offer additional products for sale, ensure that the value of liquor licenses held by small businesses are not devalued by providing an opportunity to expand operations and sales, provide for the operation of a retail system that promotes competition and convenience, and establish a system to contribute to the overall fiscal stability of Pennsylvania. Further along in that preamble, the General Assembly states that these 4 elements are essential to the welfare, health, peace, and morals of the citizens of Pennsylvania. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that language, but that's found in Section 104A of the Liquor Code. It's the overarching standard for the Liquor Code and what all provisions are exactly. And so Pennsylvania is still a control state for liquor, but for beer and wine, the focus is on free commerce and free trade. So moving on to the floor plan which I provided to you, the store is focused almost exclusively on its restaurant and single-serve operations, as Sheetz has pivoted away from a traditional gas station convenience store model, where all you get is automotive products or old hot dogs on rollers. The entire northeast wing of the store is dedicated to a large kitchen and workroom where orders placed on touchscreens from Sheetz's menu are made for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. An indoor dining area will provide seating for 30 guests. Single-serve items such as chips, candy, soda, and dairy drinks can be purchased from this store as well. There's a large coffee island and a milkshake station where you can get refreshments. This focus on food and beverage has really made Sheetz into a food destination that rivals, competes, and in my biased opinion exceeds other quick-service restaurant concepts. Now, if these food service operations sound familiar, it's because they are. It's exactly what the store sells now. Nothing is changing in regards to the store's food service. The operations qualify this store as is, as a restaurant under the Liquor Code. Liquor Code, you need valid health permit, 400 square feet, 30 seats, et cetera, in order to qualify as a restaurant license. Sheetz meets that qualification, and so it allows Sheetz to obtain this liquor license to sell beer for on-premises consumption and to go, and then for wine to go. And with the landmark change to the Liquor Code and with incredible demand from consumers for the convenience, Sheetz is excited to continue to expand its operations in PA to include the sale of beer and wine consistent with its operations in other states. Beer will be sold for on-premises consumption and for takeout. It will be displayed for sale in the Sheetz Beer Cave. In the presentation, or I'm sorry, in the PowerPoint I provided to you, there's a sample of what a Sheetz Beer Cave looks like. I'm not sure if you've been into the store recently, but basically the soda cave will be repurposed as the Sheetz Beer Cave. Sheetz will carry a wide variety of product, all the national brands, plus a good selection of craft beers. All beer sold up to 192 fluid ounces per transaction. I think everybody in PA is familiar with that requirement, 2 6-packs, 1 12-pack. Wine sales will occur from a designated area within that licensed premise. That area is yet to be determined and depends on how the interior of the store is going to be refigured to meet liquor board requirements of the separation between bulk groceries type items, gallons of milk, dozen eggs, etc., versus their single serve or their restaurant items. So the liquor board requires almost like, think of it as a small grocery store. If you go into a grocery store that has a liquor license or a cafe, you have the separate dining area and the interior connected to the grocery store. It's the same concept here, just on a smaller scale. You have your restaurant operations with an interior connection to an unlicensed store that sells bulk food, grocery items, and where your gasoline sales take place. All gasoline sales will occur on a dedicated register. I've marked it on the floor plan I provided to you. It's the farthest right register on the counter. Any gasoline sales not occurring at the pumps shall be rung up there, and those registers will not accept SKUs from beer and wine as would be required by the Liquor Board in Act 39. The Sheetz location is a 24/7 location, but sales will be limited to 7 a.m. until 1:45 a.m. Monday through Saturday, and from 9 a.m. until 1:45 a.m. on Sunday. In conjunction with these hours of operation, every Sheetz has policies and procedures in place to ensure responsible sales. Sheetz has a 100% carding policy. Any patron who wants to purchase alcohol must produce a valid photo ID. Related to that, Sheetz uses an electronic scan device. This device scans the strip or the barcode and confirms its validity and that the purchaser is over 21 years of age. Sheetz also has a house rule, a 2-drink limit for on-premises consumption. All consumption must occur in the dining area. Alcohol may not be consumed anywhere else on the property. Another safeguard is that this location will become RAMP certified. RAMP is the Liquor Board's responsible alcohol sales and service training program. There are 5 steps which must be completed to get this certification. That includes restaurant manager training, all alcohol service personnel training, and the posting of certain RAMP signage saying that we card. There's a few signs that you actually have to download from the Liquor Board website and post on your premises. This training has been effective to reduce incidences of sales to minors or visibly intoxicated persons. There's been studies on this program. And lastly, as a firm, we handle a lot of these transactions for clients, but Sheetz has, without a shadow of a doubt, an efficient and effective security program. It utilizes security cameras that cover the entire property, notably the beer cave, the point of sale, and all access points. These cameras are monitored at a centralized corporate security operations center. All employees are equipped with radio equipment that connects them directly to this operations center, so information can be quickly and freely exchanged between on-site personnel and off-site security. The security system in the cameras also has a technology to instantaneously record audio if required and requested. The store manager and employees also actively monitor the store. And anytime anybody purchases alcohol and takes it into the dining area, it's tracked on a daily log, and every 20 minutes, employees make a pass-through of the dining area to ensure responsible consumption. And finally, employees perform staggered perimeter checks throughout the day, which have been effective of preventing outdoor consumption if people want to take the beer outside on the patio, or to prevent any possible pass-offs to underage persons. That's all I'd like to present. I appreciate your time this evening. If you have any questions.
You do have outdoor seating though, don't you?
We do, but no consumption may take place, and that area will not be licensed.
Okay, and no, I see no on-premise wine consumption either?
Correct. Wine will only be for takeout.
Okay. I'll start with one question here. Following back what Brian was asking, the outdoor seating up there, will there be signage put up there saying no alcoholic beverages?
Yes, there will be.
Consumed, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course you have a way of monitoring that, like you said, you'll be staggered monitoring out there.
Correct.
I'm a little confused, and I'm assuming this has already been approved. The floor layout has been approved by Liquor Control Board for the license?
No, the way that it works is that we have to get the intermunicipal approval first.
Okay.
This resolution is then attached to our application, and then the floor plan is submitted to the liquor board, and they make the ultimate determination of whether the connections or how it's staggered. When we submit the floor plan to the liquor board, we actually have to draw out the different serving, the different selling areas, et cetera, and show how that's separated from gas sales or our convenience sales. So they have to approve all the connections.
Okay, so what we have is we have the future beer cave, which is now the soda cave right now.
Yeah.
That will be where the beer will be, you'll be able to make a selection there. Then you go to the other area that's marked off in blue also.
Correct.
To pay for it.
Yes.
Okay. Now you can go over to the seating area and consume it there? No more than two? Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, so there will be up to 192 fluid ounces, so there will be singles as well that you can serve. Typically, people buy 12 packs and they break it down, but yes, you can take the beer that you purchase from the beer cave and then take it to the seating area, but there is a limit of 2.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is this, the seating area has to be included as far as shaded in with blue showing that.
Correct.
I'm just making that note for the record here.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. This is a little different, and you guys, you've been over to Wegmans to eat, I'm assuming. The Wegmans grocery store here, I don't know if you're familiar with it, down in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah.
They have a dining area there that they've actually started selling beer and wine, and it has really cut down on the seating in there. They're not allowed to sell that out in the main store. They have to sell it right in the area where they're serving food, the restaurant area.
Yeah.
Here you've got, you'll be walking by, you know, the slushies or whatever they have. That 7-Eleven has slushies, but, you know, so this is going to be intermingled in there. And that's my question for you. I'm not, you know, I'm just curious about that.
It's not intermingled. I mean, the way that the store is configured now, it would be intermingled, but the way that we will actually draw out the restaurant versus the convenience store, it will be separated, and then the store, once the liquor board approves, they come out for their final approval. There's an agent that comes out and he verifies that we have basically reconfigured the store to our plan. But it will have, the seating area will be included in the restaurant portion. And honestly, I could probably tell you what the licensed area will look like. It will go from the seating area to where you see the kitchen and the order points at the directly north on the floor plan.
Yes.
You see all the shelving units on the left side. Yes. Those shelving units will basically act as our interior connections to the restaurant portion. So imagine from the seating area and then draw a line on the edge of the shelving units, and that will be our separation. So in the shelving units, that will be most likely convenience store, bulk food items. And then to where the beer cave is, that aisle, that will be licensed. So from the beer cave aisle to where the kitchen is and then to where those counters are, that will be licensed. Then to the left of that from the shelving unit to where the other cooler units are, where there's single serve, et cetera, or gallons of milk, that will be unlicensed premise. We've done this at a Hollidaysburg, which has received, it's a very similar floor plan. We've received conditional approval from the liquor board, so it's a similar setup.
So the LCB has what you would call a template, I guess?
Yes. This won't be the first. It's a little different than we used to license the stores. Now with the passage of Act 39, the amount of separations aren't required. But this template has been provisionally approved by the liquor board. It's a similar setup that's in Hollidaysburg.
Is this the first sheets in Erie County that this is happening?
I believe so.
I know there's one on...
I haven't seen anything in the news. I haven't done one.
You have a sheets up on, what is it, 97 by the casino?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see one on my list approved. We have multiple Blair counties, Indiana counties, Cumberland, Clearfield. I don't see any Erie County licenses, but so right now we have 8 that are active, 8 liquor licenses active for sheets, 6 are pending with the liquor board, and we have multiple other facilities are in the intermunicipal stage.
Yes, sir.
If I could. So with respect to the layouts, am I correct that the PLCB reviews the layout and determines whether it's acceptable or not.
Correct. There they are. So we can receive approval tonight, and the liquor board can ultimately reject it. They approve the layout of the store.
So with respect to layout, any concerns we may have, Liquor Control Board would be reviewing that and making a determination as to what's allowed and what wouldn't be allowed in their view, correct?
Correct.
Okay. With respect to the limitations that you presented in your PowerPoint here, the hours of operation and the sheet's responsible sales, are those conditions that the PLCB requires, or are those conditions that Sheets offers up to the PLCB? I'm trying to get an understanding of, it's nice for you to come in and say, we're going to do this, this, and this. I'm trying to get a sense of how bound are you to that out into the future?
Liquor sales are limited from 7 a.m. until 2 a.m. Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. until 2 a.m. with a Sunday sales permit. There used to be a requirement that you could only start serving at 11. That was recently changed, so you can begin serving at 9 without having to serve a meal. So the hours of operation are, we close 15 minutes early, but that's the range of hours of operation that all restaurant licensees can have.
So those are dictated by state law?
Correct.
Okay.
The carding policy is the Sheet's own policy. The electronic scan devices is the Sheet's policy. If you have a wine expanded permit, you must be ramp certified. That was when they introduced wine expanded permits, they require you to become ramp certified. So we will always be ramp certified as long as we have a wine expanded permit.
Okay.
And then the security program is, again, is Sheet's own security program.
Now, when you submit your application to PLCB, do you also provide them with this information? Like what that you're going to have a 100% card policy and that you have these electronic scanning devices?
No, we do not. That's for the municipal level.
Okay.
Anything else, Mark?
I guess with respect to what you've handed to us, you would request that these be made part of the record?
Correct.
Okay. And I guess my one other question would be, is to the extent these types of things are not required, would Sheets be opposed to making them a condition to the approval?
No, absolutely not.
All right. And by entering it into the record, do you think that's sufficient?
We could, obviously we have a resolution that's drafted. We could amend that and approve it tonight and then issue the document tomorrow.
Okay.
If that's what you choose to do.
If you want to hang around, we may have comments from the
Sure.
public. Anyone who'd like to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this resolution, it is on the agenda, but this is something a little bit out of the ordinary, and call for comment. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Comments from the board?
I think Attorney Shaw makes a good point about amending the resolution to...
Include what's offered?
Yes, to include that as a little more of really to bind Sheets to those policies as they are. I think they make a lot of sense. I think it's some good protections for public health and safety, and I think it'd be reasonable for us to make those policies and procedures a condition of the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, one of the things in Pennsylvania that, with this new Act 39, is it 39?
Yes.
Correct, yeah. We're now probably at par with other states now where you can go into the convenience stores and purchase alcoholic beverages, or at least some of them there.
Correct.
This right here, it appears to be a little different. Of course, I'm comparing it to a Wegmans.
Right.
Wegmans is a grocery store with a restaurant attached to it. And in that restaurant is where you find the alcoholic beverages. You don't find them anywhere else within the store.
Right.
This right here is kind of, like I said, commingled around there, scattered around through there. And it's a convenience store. It's not licensed as a restaurant. Am I right?
It is a restaurant. Pennsylvania only has eating place licenses or restaurant licenses for retail licensees. So it's the same as what you'd find in an Applebee's or a Wegmans. It's the same type of license. And
yeah.
I know it does seem a bit different than a Wegmans or a Giant Eagle or other stores, but it really is the same concept with the restaurant connected to an unlicensed business. It just is a little more condensed.
Yeah, but what it is, you can go in and you can buy a Budweiser and a Snickers to go with it, right? Isn't that kind of what you're doing here? You can't do that at any of the restaurants, what I'm getting at. So this is where this is a little bit different, is what I'm
But will you be paying for your alcohol, will you be paying for your beer and wine at a separate register, separate from where you would be paying for your Snickers?
No, you would not. The
Okay.
two registers on the floor plan that I submitted to you that I outlined in blue, that will be for restaurant, and then the purple register will be for gasoline or bulk food items.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So that's the separation. The liquor board separates it from single serve items to bulk food, grocery items. And so
Similar
that's where,
but different than Wiggins.
Similar but different.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because, the thing is, we'll have people asking us about this.
No, I understand.
I mean, should we, approve this thing tonight? And, somebody, and I can picture what could happen. Somebody's gonna say, why is my little Tommy going in and buying a Snickers bar and a guy's buying beer in there too at the same time?
no, I understand. Yeah,
So-
and Sheets does post, besides the ramp signage, they do post informational signage because it's very new, even with other grocery stores, other clients. It's important to have, information out there so people know, go to the gas register, go to the food, et cetera.
Okay, just one thing under liquor control law, I'm gonna ask you this here. Are they allowed to put any signage or posters or anything advertising the beverages that they sell? In other words, like a Budweiser light in the window or posters of,
They could, but
You know,
Sheets does not do that.
okay, but the liquor control law allows that? to
Yeah,
be done?
merchandising, you would be able to
But
do
Sheets
that.
is not going to do that, so there's nothing that's going to, enhance or glamorize the drinking, possibility of
Yeah,
it, so.
yeah, correct. I mean,
Okay.
in our 8 stores in PA, our alcohol sales are average about 12% of our total store sales. Honestly, probably 11% of those are to go. Like, very few people consume on premises, so you don't have to worry about, a lot of alcohol consumption on premises. And it's not a huge, portion of our sales. It doesn't drive really any more traffic to our stores. It's more convenience for people who shop at the store.
Okay, yeah. I'm just preparing us for questions. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, I got you.
Because, people may be questioning us,
Yeah.
however we vote on this.
It's something new.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Thank you. That's all I have,
Anything else?
Brian.
All right, I will entertain a motion regarding resolution 2017 R4.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we amend Resolution 2017 R4 to incorporate the policies and procedures as presented today.
Okay.
And with that, moving approval?
I think if you separately amend it and then approve it, right?
Okay.
Okay, I will second that motion.
All right, Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next we have item 11 on the agenda, the 2017 commission appointments. This is, the first one is for the Planning Commission. This is a reappointment of Scott Stewart. This is a four-year term.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry.
Chairman McGrath, I think there might have been some confusion on that vote. I think Mr. Morgan was moving to amend the resolution.
Yes.
And then once that was approved, then approve the resolution as amended. So I think we need to have a second vote, just to clarify that.
Okay, so your motion was to amend the resolution.
Yes.
All right.
Now, I would move that we adopt Resolution 2017 R4 as amended.
Okay, did you get that, Cheryl? Okay.
Okay, and I will second that. as
Okay.
Tony.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, Mark. Okay, to the commission appointments. The first is for the Planning Commission. This is for Scott Stewart. His term would expire on January 15th of 2021. And the term did expire last week on the 15th of 2017. Is there a motion regarding the reappointment of Scott Stewart?
Mr. Chairman, I can attest that Mr. Stewart has done excellent work on the commission for us the past few years, and I would move to reappoint him to the Planning Commission.
Okay.
And I agree there. I'll second that there. Good guy.
Mr. Groh?
Yes, I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes.
Okay.
And next is for, okay, on the agenda is the Property Maintenance Fire Code Board of Appeals, but Mr.
still
Groh is still
trying to make
contact with
yes.
the person who is interested in that, so we'll hold off on that one.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have another appointment. It's listed in the communications, as long as we're talking about appointments. Mr. Fred Enfield notified us that he would like to resign from the Zoning Hearing Board. I would move that we appoint our alternate zoning hearing board member, Art Gallner, to the actual zoning hearing board as a full member. Mr. Gallner's been the alternate for how long now? How long have you been the alternate, Art?
A little over a year, I guess, yeah.
All right. I think he's familiar with the board. He's interacted and participated on several decisions. I think he's well qualified. I would move that we appoint Art Gallner to fill the vacancy on the zoning hearing board.
Okay.
I will second that motion there.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes.
And with that, a little public notice, we now have a vacancy on the zoning hearing board for our alternate member.
Yes.
Any letters of interest from folks in the community who would like to serve, we'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to drop off a letter, a resume to the township building, or email it to either a member of the board or to our township secretary. We'd be happy to consider applicants for this position.
Thank you. Okay, next we have financial security release request. This is for Abiding Hope Lutheran Church. Mr. Morris?
Financial security is in the amount of $25,126 held by Northwest Savings Bank, check number 1009. Everything has been satisfactorily completed, and we're recommending that this security, financial security, be released.
Okay, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve that security release as requested.
I'll second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next, we have a request for a reduction. This is for JP Realty Group. Mr. Morris?
This is for the Glenwood Pet Hospital that's currently under construction on West 38th Street. Erie Bank number 1501 is holding the present amount of financial security in the amount of $56,595. We're recommending a reduction of $44,000 to $12,595. There are a number of items that need to be completed yet, and that includes gutters, downspouts, vegetated swales, trees, and sidewalk.
I'm sure someone in your department has checked to make sure that that's not dropping below the 10% limit. Okay. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that as presented.
I will second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next, we have the retention of Gannett Fleming, and I'm going to refer to our solicitor for this item.
Yes, this is, Gannett Fleming is an engineering firm. They have offices throughout the state. They are based in, I think, the central PA area, but they do have offices in Pittsburgh. And this relates to the Angela Crest Trust matter. As a predicate to a potential resolution of those matters, the trust is submitting a stormwater management plan relating to the development that it undertook when it acquired its property on Steratania Road. The parties have agreed to hire a third-party engineer to review that plan and to share the cost of that. We looked at several different engineering firms and agreed upon Gannett Fleming. The trust agrees with that, to Gannett Fleming as well. The rates would be in accordance with the schedule that was provided to you. We've interviewed them and spoken to them, and I feel comfortable that they'd be able to properly perform the task. Their senior project manager would be at a rate of $170 an hour. The staff engineers who would also likely be working on it are at $110 an hour. So we would recommend retaining Gannett Fleming for this limited purpose.
And Mark, this has already been approved by the trust, so we
Yes.
don't, okay.
Mark, and the costs are split between the township and
50-50
the trust?
between the township and the trust.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion regarding the retention of Gannett Fleming for the stormwater management review?
I'll move approval of retaining Gannett Fleming.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next, we have consideration of the Mill Creek Mall stormwater management agreement. Who's going to handle this one? Rick? Mark?
This has been a different one in that there have been some changes made, so Mark, if you would.
Sure. This relates to the Mill Creek Mall expansion project in the location of the former Sears store. We submitted to Cafaro the basic form documents that we uses the base agreement. They came back with some suggested changes. We went back and forth with respect to those changes. Many of the changes were clarifying type of changes. They don't really change, they don't change the substance of the agreement. So we've come to a resolution as to an agreement that I would recommend that the supervisors approve with respect to the stormwater management agreement. Cafaro has signed the agreements, and we have the originals here for signature as well, so.
Okay.
Mark, the only concern I have, I brought up to Mr. Morris and you earlier, is does this somehow create a new precedent for us to negotiate the agreements that we typically enforce?
No, with respect to the agreements are standard forms, but they're not, fit one size fits all. Because of the nature of different properties, there are times where you make adjustments. For instance, there are provisions in here relating to aspects that they're not doing. There's no reason to keep those types of provisions in the agreements. I tend to think that they just cause confusion when you leave stuff in that it really isn't designed to cover. For instance, there are references to like open space. Well, there's no open space in this development, so leaving stuff like that in, I think, can lend to confusion. The other changes were simply, kind of form type changes. They don't really change, in my mind, the substance of the agreements. And so I don't view that as problematic in terms of making those types of changes. Kind of tailor it to the property. In this case, you're dealing with the mall property, which frankly is very unique to all other properties in the township. So I don't think we're kind of creating a record for others to say, hey, I need to change this or that.
One thing that's unique is it was developed without any stormwater management.
Yes.
Couldn't do it now.
No, not for that amount of impervious area. Okay, any comments, Rick?
No.
Okay. Any comments from the board, or is there a motion?
Mr. Morris, would you like an opportunity to review the agreement before we approve it?
No, I trust Mark.
I reviewed the agreement with Matt Waldinger, went through it with him today at length. This afternoon, he was fine with all the changes, so we did review it with the staff that typically handles these.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the stormwater maintenance agreement with the Mill Creek Mall Corporation for this project.
I'll second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Excuse me. Next, we have the December and the year-end building construction reports. Mr. Grow?
Okay. Well, as we know, December is always a slow month. This report comes from the zoning department. In the residential end of construction, we had one single-family dwelling permit issued, and then there was an addition for a total construction value of $385,000. And under the commercial, there were scattered a bunch of different additions and stuff like that, remodels, for that total of $655,084, for a total of $1.040084, sorry. $1 million, sorry. $1 million of construction value. Sorry for that there. A little tongue-tied. Copies of that are available in the zoning department starting tomorrow, I believe, and they will be online. And then the end of the year report from the zoning department, statistics. There were 45 new single-family dwellings, permits issued last year, 30 multifamily units for a total construction value of $11,275,000. At the commercial end, we had total, these were zoning permit fees of, let's see here, $108,633. And that was for everything. That was for zoning permits, sidewalk permits, signs, pools, demolition, zoning hearing board appeals, rezoning applications, and so on. Of course, a copy of this is also available too at the zoning department. I don't think we put this online, but it is available. So that's the way I've done pretty good here last year.
Thank you.
Yep.
Communications, Mark?
No, I have nothing.
John?
Yes, I've got a couple of them here. Give me a second. Okay. Find the right one. Okay. This comes from Diane Lyons, our HR director. It says, John, can you please approve Scott Height's, this is Chief Scott Height, salary change with his promotion to chief. We have forgot to do this at that time. So his salary effective January 1 would be $103,000. So I put that in the form of a motion to approve that salary increase.
I'm sure that Scott would appreciate that.
I'm sure he would. He was promised that, and we didn't do it, so.
I'll second that, and again, to clarify the public, that was the approved salary that
Yeah.
we offered Chief Height, and just an oversight on
Yes,
approving.
just an
officially
oversight,
publicly.
yep. Okay, I made the motion.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes as well.
I vote yes. Anything else, John?
Yes, oh, I got something here from Chief Scott Height. I got 3 items here. Item number 1 here is permission for Captain Carter Mook and Lieutenant Mike Little to attend training in Franklin, PA, March 27th to 28th. The course, which is called Media and Law Enforcement, is sponsored by the Northwest PA Chiefs Association in conjunction with Penn State Justice and Safety Institute. The course registration is covered by the Northwest PA Chiefs, therefore the only cost to the department is travel time and expenses. And I don't have those numbers verified, I just happened to see that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold that back until I get those numbers, I get an estimate on that there, okay?
They've got a month.
Yeah, they've got
Okay.
a month on that there. I will hold that on there, okay?
Okay.
Okay, moving on, permission for the retroactive purchase of a VC400 PC by Vericom Motion Performance Instruments for at a cost of $2,554. The device is utilized in the investigation of serious motor vehicle accidents and was authorized for purchase in for this year's budget, 2017. He had asked for a request for that preliminary approval in a January 6th email, which I think we all approved that there. So this is a formal motion to approve that purchase.
To actually make the purchase.
To make the purchase,
Okay.
yes.
That's a motion, is there a
That is
second?
a motion, yes, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes
I
as well.
vote yes.
Okay. And then a request by the board, a request to the Board of Supervisors to acknowledge the William T. Spader Company for their donation of services in the amount of $1,129. The services were for the fabrication and modifications to the police department's new armored vehicle. He sent a donation recognition letter to the company and provided Mark Jaheski with a copy of that there. So I just want to make that public knowledge that William T. Spader Company did provide an in-kind service for us in the amount of $1,129. Okay, I got a couple other things here, just quickly. This just came out, we just found out about this here in the last couple days, and it's nothing sneaky or anything like that, but tomorrow before Judge Cunningham, there will be an action to redraw one of the voting districts here in Mill Creek, District number 23, which is over here, Zook Road Interchange and so on. It's actually the voting district that votes at the First Alliance Church up on Zimmerly Road, if I recall correctly. There are so many people voting there. There are 3,400 people voting at that station. So the Board of Elections has decided, they need to come up with another place and split that up. So if this is approved by Judge Cunningham tomorrow, which it looks like it will be, there will be District 25. And those of us who know Mill Creek always had 24 districts, will now have 25. Those people that will be affected by that, should this thing go through, will be notified as to where their new polling station will be. So this is just an early advance notice about that, folks. So the voter registration office will let you know if you are being moved. I'm just going to leave it at that, not make it too complicated. So
Just give us just a quick look there
Yeah.
as to what the line is. Isn't it kind of?
yeah, it's well, let's see here.
hard to say.
Yeah, it is. It's really kind of hard to describe.
It's not one side of the road or the other.
No,
Okay.
it's not. It's kind of, it goes around different areas. It's based on population, as you probably know, and so with the expansion of residential development in that area, it has just increased that many more voters for the 23rd
It's
district.
much more clear than our congressional districts.
Oh, God, yes. So, anyway, that's.
It looks reasonable.
Setting low
Yeah.
standards.
So, you'll be notified that if you are affected. And just two things here that people need to know is, in case you've read the paper here in the last day or so, one of our dear employees who retired in 2015, Bill Perry, He was in charge of maintenance department here. He'd worked here for, what, 40 years, I think?
Yes, he did, yes.
And, of course, he had fallen ill in the last couple of years, and unfortunately, he passed away on Saturday morning. He leaves, what, 3 boys and his
Four
wife?
boys.
4 boys and his wife, and I think a grandson. He was one heck of a guy here,
He was.
working here, and
Big Bill.
Big Bill. And just a big, lovable kind of guy, and we're very sorry and offer our deepest sympathies to his family at this time. And there's just one more death I'm sad to announce here too. A volunteer firefighter from Westlake Fire Department, E.J. Mascaro. You may have saw his obituary in a paper. E.J. had been with the Westlake Fire Department from the time I think he was in a junior in high school, if I recall correctly. He was able to get a job as a professional firefighter in South Carolina, and sadly last week he was involved in a car accident and was killed, and we're very sorry to hear that.
I believe he was responding to a call.
Responding to a call, yes, and we're very sorry to pass our sympathies on to the Mascaro family and to the family at the Westlake Fire Department and to all the fire departments that will mourn his loss. So I just wanted to make that announcement out there too. I wish I had something better to say, but I have to close up with those bad things there, so thank you.
John. I have a couple of things. One is from our Public Works Director, Gary Snyder. He'd like permission to order 2 international 10-ton cab and chassis from 5 Star International for the price of $183,141.92. This would be a CoStarz purchase. CoStarz is a state bidding process that they obtain the best prices available for various commodities and make those available to municipalities throughout the state. The CoStarz contract number is 025-005. We would also like permission to order 2 dump bodies, power angle snow plows, 2 wing plows, and 2 salt spreaders from U.S. Municipal for the price of $141,049. This would be a CoStarz purchase, and the CoStarz contract number is 025-019. These items are both in the 2017 budget, and I'll move approval of those purchases.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Mr. Grow?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I just have a quick question
Yes.
for Mark. Gary knows he spoke with you about this purchase. Was there some details about monies being exchanged later in the year?
It was just, actually, these are going to be paid for out of the state liquid fuels fund,
Okay.
which we will have those funds available on March 1st. It's really a cash, we generally reimburse ourselves at the end of the year for
Okay.
state liquid fuels funds.
Right.
So it's a matter of our cash flow, and I didn't want to leave us in a lurch because we don't get our first really big payment until April or May.
Understood.
We likely won't take delivery on these until September, October.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the other part of the problem is
It takes so long to get
them. If they don't put the order in now, they're hardly here in time for season.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, motion second. Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And also from the garage, Joe Yatzer would like permission to purchase a new welder. He obtained 3 quotes. One was from Airgas for $1,086.44. One was from Welder Supply for $2,140.95. And one was from Matheson for $2,008.51. I would move that Airgas be awarded that contract for $1,986.44, and this was also in the 2017 budget.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And from our Parks and Rec Director, Ashley Marsteller, she would like permission to have the following employees approved for the winter season. Carol Gilbo for knitting and crocheting at $10.50. Lauren Ertzgard for adult leisure, $9.50. Taylor Gushi, a water safety instructor, for $8.50, and Robert Balmansky, a lifeguard, at $7.65. And I would move approval of those hires.
I'll second that.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And that's all I have.
I guess
Mr. Morgan.
It's my turn, all right.
Your turn.
Mr. Chairman, I have a request from Rick Morris, our Township Engineer. requesting approval for himself, an assistant township engineer, and Sokol to attend PennDOT training related to the PennDOT ECMS system. For those of you unfamiliar, ECMS is the Engineering Construction Management System. It's a online program that PennDOT requires all project managers, whether they are private sector or public sector, to utilize in order to manage, track, and receive state funding for state-funded highway projects. It is a very complicated system. I've experience with it. The training, I believe, is very necessary for our staff to be familiar with. Mr. Morris, I believe you have some cost estimates on that. I apologize if you get
Yes.
into them. I don't have them on me right now.
Approximately $900 for both of us to attend, and that includes meals, lodging, gasoline, and the use of a township vehicle.
And there are several dates available. We could still try to determine the most optimal time for the staff to attend, but I would move approval.
Well, two of them are already passed, so we're looking at either the February in Pittsburgh or March in Indiana, PA, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But I would move approval for Rick and Ann to attend at a cost not to exceed $900.
Okay. That's a motion?
Yes, sir.
I'll second.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes.
I also have a request. This comes from Diane Lyons, our HR director, regarding a new hire to the township and actually a new position to the township. As you gentlemen both know, we've been working on the municipal comprehensive plan for Mill Creek, titled Embrace Mill Creek. Planning Commission is working diligently this past year to develop that plan. And one of the members of that team was actually an intern in our office by the name of Jennifer Beisel. Jennifer interned with the Mill Creek Township Engineering Department this past fall. She's currently attending Edinburgh University and will graduate in May of 2017. Her major is in environmental geography with a minor in studies in GIS mapping and Spanish. I can tell you Jennifer was a huge help to our engineering team, particularly Matt Walding, our land development coordinator, in helping to develop elements of this plan, worked exceptionally well with the Planning Commission, and really showed, in my opinion, some professionalism and maturity that you don't typically see in college-age interns. So what we would like to do is keep Jennifer on board as a part-time planner. This will be the first planner we will have hired. I believe she's well qualified as an entry-level planner. We're requesting a pay rate of $12 an hour initially, and upon completion of her degree, the pay would increase to $14.42. So I would make a motion that we approve the hire of Jenna Beisel as our part-time planner and make that retroactive to yesterday.
Okay.
I will second that. She's a great young lady.
Mr. Grow?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Anything else, John?
Just a quick
Oh, yeah, we do.
update for you gentlemen about the comprehensive plan. We did advertise and we put out requests for proposals for planning consultant firms to help us develop the plan. Back in December, we opened those proposals, I believe the second week of January. And we actually received 11 proposals, which is about twice what we anticipated. We advertised it on a national planning website. We actually got proposals from as far away as Seattle. Currently, our internal staff and also the Planning Commission members are reviewing those proposals. The Planning Commission is going to hold a work session on Thursday to develop a recommendation for our board to consider. We're anticipating that the Planning Commission will have a final recommendation for selection to our board by February 14th, pending if they would like to, it depends on how many firms they want to bring in for interviews. But the goal is to have a final recommendation from the Planning Commission for us to select that consultant by February 14th or at the very latest February 28th.
Good. Things are still chugging along.
They are chugging along. It's been a little quiet on the public front, waiting for these proposals to come in, but also part of hiring Jenna is to assist our engineering department to manage this project internally, and I think she'll do an excellent job of that.
Good. We do have two more items. Sorry, Mark, hold on just 1 second. John, do you want to go ahead with the
Yes, I forgot to
resignation?
bring this. I am sorry.
I have one more, too.
A letter written to me by Daniel Benzer It says, I write to regret with regret to inform Mill Creek Township supervisors of my decision to step down from the Mill Creek Township Sewer Authority as a board member effective immediately due to some personal constraints. Please know that I have thoroughly appreciated and enjoyed the opportunity to serve our community and to further the goals of the Sewer Authority. I am proud of our collective achievements and the progress we have made. I've been honored to serve with such talented individuals and feel lucky to have volunteered by their side. I believe that the authority, with its dedicated team and board, will continue to move the authority forward in all future endeavors. Signed Daniel J. Benzer, that was received on January 17th. So we do have an opening, but I think that we have somebody in mind for that. We're in conversation for that there. If that does not materialize, we will have an opening on the authority that we'll probably end up filling there. So I just want to bring that up there for the record.
Okay, thank you, John. And I failed to mention that we did have 3 executive sessions during the time from our last public meeting on January the 5th, January the 13th, and January the 19th, all to discuss litigation. Mark.
Yes, first would be a request for a letter of support with respect to a grant application related to Scott Run. Rick, I don't know if you wanted to talk about this or wanted me to.
Go ahead.
We received a request from the Penn Soil Resource Conservation and Development Council to write a letter of support with respect to a best management practices stormwater project that they are trying to do at Scott Run. Overall, their project involves 2 components. The first component, which this letter of support would go towards, would be the creation of a riparian buffer in certain areas along Scott Run by the Trek Center. The second aspect of the project would be the construction of, I believe it's 9 kind of stormwater sediment reduction pools in the stream itself. I think their total project cost is in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. And this, they're trying to use this grant from, I believe it's with the, what's it called? The 5-Star and Urban Waters Restoration Grant Program. This grant would serve as a match to a Growing Greener grant application that they've already submitted to DEP with respect to Phase 2.
Is that private money, Mark? The 5-Star that you're talking about?
5-Star is federal money.
Federal, okay.
The Growing Greener grant would be state money, and then I think they have put their own kind of private funds. They're a 501c3 organization. They put some of their own private funds into developing it and so forth. At this point, they're just looking for us to submit a letter of support indicating that we would be in support of, provide support with respect to encouraging community participation via education and outreach programs, and that we would encourage the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, which supports this grant they're seeking, to fund the grant. It does have a tie into the MS4 program issues that we're currently looking at. I'm still in conversations with DEP in terms of could projects like this that where the timing may be a little bit too soon, if we could rely and use those projects to support what we're doing. And in fact, I have a call scheduled tomorrow with DEP Council with respect to that. So
Looking to see if we could actually get credit?
yes. So I think, at least with respect to the level of support they're seeking at this point, I think it makes sense for us to do that, because there's still, I think, a pretty good possibility that if this moves forward, we may be able to work with them even more closely and get some credit. With respect to Scott Run, which is one of the impaired waters that have been identified by DEP as requiring a pollution reduction plan.
Okay.
What are your thoughts, Rick?
Yes, it sounds like the coordination is there, and this will be something that will be very helpful to the township. And when you look at Scott Run, there really aren't that many places where we could do something like this.
A lot of it's closed.
Yes.
Yes.
You just don't have that many opportunities.
And the support doesn't bind us to any services or any financial contribution?
No, just saying we support it, and, to the extent we need to publicize stuff, we would, work with them to publicize things, to get them volunteers to plant the trees for the riparian buffer and things like that.
This is one of the 6 impaired streams for sedimentation, and that's exactly what this project is trying to combat.
I would move that I move to direct engineer Rick Morris to draft the support letter and issue the support letter on behalf of the board.
Okay, we'll second that.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Anything else, Mark?
I did have two other things which were not on our original agenda because they came up, frankly, yesterday and today. I received a letter yesterday from DEP with respect to Marshall's Run. If you had recalled, we had inquired into them with respect to the ability to rely on permanent equivalency under the Superfund Act for certain improvements to Marshall's Run. We submitted a letter and some evidence indicating supporting that position. We received a letter, I received a letter yesterday from the department agreeing with our position and agreeing that it would satisfy, it would be viewed as permanent equivalency. So it enables us as we move forward with that project to avoid some of the procedural hurdles that you have to deal with in terms of getting at, submitting applications and things like that. We still need to meet the substantive requirements that you would have to do anytime you're in a stream, but at least it removes those and hopefully will speed up the process.
That's good news. That's very good news.
And then lastly, I received a contact from Attorney Adair with respect to the LECOM appeals. If you recall, I think it was a couple weeks ago, the Board of Assessment Appeals issued a determination concluding that a couple of the hospital parcels and some residential parcels were not tax exempt. Those matters were appealed by, I think it was either LECOM or MCH, I forget which organization it was, and Attorney Adair was, who has been assisting the township in the underlying matters, was requesting just clarification that if he was authorized to proceed to file an appearance in these appeals that were filed.
Is there a motion to utilize Mr. Adair's
Yes.
services?
Yes, I will make that motion for Mr. Adair to continue on this phase of the appeal.
All right.
Should that get to that point. Yeah.
Is there a second?
Well, those services are already covered in the service agreement we have with Evan Adair.
Yes. Yeah, it's just the extension of frankly, an existing relationship.
All right, I will second.
Mr. Grove?
I think we need to have any public comment on that.
Oh, because that was not on the
Yes.
agenda, yes. Any public comment on that item? That's the first one that wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah.
I do want to recognize the fact that we have a member of the school board here tonight, and I want to thank you for the assistance from the school board on this issue. It's a very difficult,
Yes.
extended issue, and one that we hope will be resolved quickly, or soon anyways. Quickly is too late for that, but soon. Okay, we have a motion, a second. Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
I vote yes. That it, Mark?
That is all I have.
Cheryl? Rick, anything else?
Nothing.
Citizens to be heard? Yes, sir.
Art Kellner, 6026 Moraine Drive. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to direct my question to our engineer, Rick Morris. Up at the Humane Society, the clear cutting that's going on along Walnut Creek up there, is that initiated by PennDOT?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
On the south side, that's for the flood detention basin and other stormwater
Oh, there
management
is a
facilities.
retention basin that's going in there?
Yes, detention, yes.
Detention, okay. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
And that's part of the Interchange Road project?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Actually, on that note, the announcement that I think Mr. Morris and I probably should have made. There is, PennDOT is currently undertaking a study
yes.
for Route 99. We are jointly participating in, along with Summit Township, to look into future development and future roadway improvements along Route 99 or Edinburgh Road, it's commonly called. They're going to have a public hearing, or public meeting, I believe it's February 7th, Rick?
Yes.
That's it's 5 o'clock?
6.
The
For
public
6.
portion is 6.
Yes.
And that is at First Alliance Church? No.
Yes, on Zimmerly Road.
Wait a minute.
I think they moved it to Summit.
I thought it was going to be at the...
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Perry
That's wrong.
Highway-
It's at Perry Highway Hose
Right.
on Oliver Road.
Yes.
Correct.
Apologies. Perry Highway Hose Company on Oliver Road at 6 p.m. on February 7th. There'll be a public meeting to kick off this study.
I think, Rick, if you would, maybe get a hold of Judy's line tomorrow so we can get that on,
Okay?
get that on the government channel. That'd be good. All right, anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 8:30.
I'll make that motion.
We're adjourned.
You're watching the Mill Creek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.